Since the very beginning, Jobs had his hands turning the wheels in some way, from their very first computer, the Apple I, in April 1976. After his hiatus with the company for a couple of years, his grand return came in 1997. Mr. Jobs then became the interim CEO of Apple that same year, and the year after that, he released the iMac. This computer turned out to be a smash hit, propelling him to become the full-fledged CEO in 2000. But let's fast forward a couple of years to where things get good. In 2007, at the Macworld Conference and Expo, Steve Jobs would then unveil the iPhone. The reviews during this time were mixed. The iPhone was revolutionary, and as many would call it, the very first smartphone. The screen was reactive when touched, you could listen to music, browse the web, make and receive phone calls even. The iPhone OS, or iOS 1.0, would release alongside the iPhone, allowing its users to take full control of the iPhone. This would then be an introduction to the very long line of iOS, as we're currently on the 14th version of the original iOS. The iPhone had taken place of so many other things in our lives. It became the Swiss Army knife of technology. This thing wasn't just a phone, it was a whole lot more. The first iPhone and its successors have changed the way we design mobile phones. From the innovations like Touch ID, Face ID, and even GPS enabled in the background for tracking our devices. After his unfortunate death from pancreatic cancer, his impact was everlasting in the company. His successor, Tim Cook, then took up the mantle and decided to take the company in a new direction. Tim was handpicked by Steve, so Steve trusted Tim to lead the company further into the forefront of the tech industry.
Since his death in 2011, Steve Jobs gave the gift of the smartphone. When Tim Cook took over, many people wondered how a new CEO could ever fit the shoes of the late Jobs. Tim Cook knew a new fresh design was needed, a drastic change, one that would redefine the interface of iOS and give the company a new aesthetic direction. And then there was iOS 7, a brand new direction that Apple tried to take regarding their phone operating systems. The look was something nobody had ever seen. Clean icons, bright colors, overhauling every app design, and nearly creating a brand new phone in just one simple update. This is a direction that many didn't see coming, as this was a rather bold move by changing the entire design of the famous iPhone right after the CEO's death. What's interesting about this, though, is how well they have stuffed this design, creating a complete divide from the Steve Jobs era and the post-Jobs era. The change from one design to the other was so drastic, many now look back on the days in which their iPhone had a built-in YouTube app. Gross. Or when you could take a picture with the camera and the shutter closed on the screen. It was now new and ready for a completely new direction for the company, and this was their way to show the world how innovative they could be under new leadership.
After a major transition of their OS, Apple released their iPhone 5 series phones in 2013. These phones donned a new radically innovative feature called Touch ID, which used a fingerprint scanner to bypass passcodes to lock devices and authorize payments. This was a radical change for Apple and increased the security of their devices. Such radical changes from Apple would not be seen again for quite some time, as the next 3 generations of iPhone and iOS instead focused on small quality of life improvements that gave Apple users more control of their devices. iOS 8 included Apple Music, Apple Pay, family sharing, iCloud Drive, and the use of third-party keyboards. iOS 9 added support for night shift, low power mode, and the option to test out new versions of iOS through the public beta program. Finally, iOS 10 brought a new look for the news, music, and photos apps, and gave users iMessage and the ability to delete built-in apps. Finally, after 3 years of no radical upgrades, Apple released iOS 11. Like the iPhone 5 series, this iteration of iPhone brought very significant changes and made the icons feel more alive by changing the look of apps. Additionally, iOS 11 also changed the lock screen as well by merging the lock screen with the notification center. This update allowed users to see their notifications and updates easier, while also adding the ability to take control of the media player controls straight from the lock screen alone. This iOS innovation led to the creation of Apple's very popular iPhone X, which supported water resistance and Face ID hardware features that improved both the durability and security of iPhones. The success of these devices led Apple to expand to other technology markets as well, where Apple found great success through the iPad in the tablets market, the Apple Watch in the wearable devices market, and the Apple TV in the streaming market.
To sum up, Apple, a company established with the primary visions of changing the way people view computers, becomes a trillion megacorp with a product. The iPhone series. Since the first original iPhone released in 2007, Apple has been working hard to optimize and integrate more advanced technology into iPhone products. Leswig 2019, the iPhone became intertwined in our life because it replaced so many other devices. A breakthrough wearable series, Apple Watch series, or AirPods are being well known along with the iPhones. MacBook and iMac are known as a standard of first-class design and powerful device So, did Steve Jobs' death create a renovation in Apple's products? Some even go so far as to declare that Apple died with Jobs. However, one of the biggest claims I've heard in a while is that Apple has stopped taking risks after Steve Jobs. By suspend in 2020, Apple indeed used to be a symbol of groundbreaking design, but now Apple is struggling to renovate themselves to catch up with their rival.